In today's video, I want to share with you a relaxed witchy vlog, and I'm just going to be talking about some things that have been coming up for me, some shadow work, exploration, some healing work, and just where I am presently in the season and what's going on for me, really. So get yourself a nice hot drink, settle back, relax, and enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you are all well and safe and looking after yourselves. I wanted to pop on today and film a little bit of a vlog. I wanted it to be really relaxed, and basically wanted to start it a few days ago because I'm in a bit of a transitionary period at the moment. So some of you will have seen, if you've seen any of my recent videos, that I've been suffering with some physical health problems in the last couple of years, and it's really gotten intense in the last year, and I'm also experiencing struggles in other areas of my life as well. I've filmed a number of videos and parts of videos, and I'm not really sure what's going to go up when, but there is a video where I speak about having a manifestation, you know, come to fruition for me, which has been amazing. And so I am now in a transitionary period. It feels really good. I'm really, really grateful and really ready for next steps. Things are looking a little bit brighter in at least one of the areas, and so I'm really, really, really happy about that. And I had a few days at home just to kind of process things, but as with all things in life, nothing is as you plan, and everything has been incredibly busy.
So it has been wet around these parts during October, but it has been really nice to get out and take the dog for lots of walks around the woods when I've been able to. We also had some severe weather warnings, so I haven't been able to get out as much as I'd like to this month, but it's been really, really nice. And collecting some nice autumnal leaves as well, and sitting with one of my favourite trees, this beech tree here in the woods. I collected some beautiful leaves to decorate the house with. So I've been doing a lot of pottering and baking as well. I've been taking time just to enjoy being inside and listening to the rain and decorating. I also took the time to harvest some of the last mugwort from the garden. I'm gonna let this dry and then tie it up into smoke bundles for cleansing. It's really fragrant and it's doing really well in the garden. It's spreading quite a lot. I also made some really, really nice soda bread rolls, and they're so easy. I will leave a recipe down below. It's just like a couple of ingredients. It's yogurt and some spelt flour, and it's like a yogurt bread. I've been using loads of my pumpkin spice as well as my pumpkin spice syrup, which I have run out of a number of times, so I keep making more. That's the last of the pumpkin spice syrup, and I just couldn't resist having these with butter and then going back for more again. They were so good. I made some more of the pumpkin spice syrup again. We've also been making lots of cinnamon rolls. These are my pumpkin cinnamon rolls. And also been reading in bed with some croissants and coffee. And here are the boys. And baking lots of cookies as well, and brownies. And just enjoying being in the space. I have switched it up quite a bit since then. We also went pumpkin picking with the kids as well, which has been really, really nice this month. And having cuddles with the animals.
obviously in autumn, kids go back to school. I have 2 kids. One of them is in year 5, which is the penultimate year essentially of primary school, and so we're looking to find a secondary school for her. And she's also my daughter who's on the ASD pathway. We are also now, thankfully, we're going to get her an EHCP, which I've been begging the school for a very long time. We're now going to be able to get an EHCP for her, which is so helpful, but I'm not sure what kind of secondary school we're going to be able to get her into at this point. So looking around those schools and hearing back from that, but because I'm in this liminal kind of space in terms of career pathway, I am about to start a new role. I'm really excited for it, but as a result it means I need to focus my attention there a little bit. But I'm also in the middle of exploring new areas of inquiry and places that we can get support for our daughter as well. And for me, mentally, emotionally, physically, things are definitely coming to a head. Physically, things are tough, up and down all throughout the month really, and I'm still deepening into questions around that. And I've started taking some supplements that are supporting with hormonal shifts, and so I can definitely start to see some areas in isolation, so the pain in isolation, etc., and getting a little bit further into details about what my issues might be. So there's still investigation in that with my GP. And then also, I mentioned in a previous video, I do want to go down a route to explore neurodivergence for myself, especially because in the last 6 months, things being really difficult, I think I have noticed a lot in myself that I know has always been there, but I've been struggling with it more recently, and it's almost like it's just coming out, like there's no way to stop it. I've always thought of myself as a very heart on my sleeve type of person. I show my feelings, I show my emotions, so it's not that masking makes me disingenuous. I really do feel that I mask, you know, and I feel like I always need to be something likable or, you know, in a certain way, in a certain light. But more than that, recent things that are happening that are really good, really positive, are showing me how I'm reacting in situations that I don't feel comfortable in, I don't feel safe in. I'm finding that I am called to and feel that I need to very much debrief every single day. Like I need to have this time where it's just like blah. The last month or so I've not really journaled very much, and my meditation practice has gone down to quite a small breathwork practice and some somatic exercises because I didn't have the capacity, the spoons, the energy all the time, and I've been kind of hanging on, waiting to get through a certain part of what I'm dealing with and then to the next step, which thankfully I'm now getting there. So as a result, I think that I'm noticing like I really need processing time, that I think I struggle to go from one thing to another, but being a parent and having a job, you're always doing that. And then the fact that our situation with Rosalie, it's very much like aggression every day and violent words, violent actions physically. It's really hard to manage. It's been so hard to manage. And I think as someone who is going through mental and physical struggles with chronic pain, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and then mental health struggles as well, and then just emotionally the toll that low-level trauma every day takes on me, as well as concern for my daughter, obviously, because she's in this state of heightened panic all the time. And then our son, she often will take out her aggression on our son, so it's keeping him safe. He's only 7 and he's very panicky a lot of the time, and so protecting him is really hard. And then my husband and I, it's a really tough time, gonna be real, and I don't want to tiptoe around anymore. Like, you know, I never thought I was a person who did that either. Like, if someone asks how I am, I'm always like, oh, I'm really tired, like, and I tell them how I feel. Like, I'm always like that. And I know that some people just can't take the way that I am honest, but in recent months certain things have happened where I just cannot, I don't have the capacity to be able to do that social filter thing. So for an example, I was sort of having anxiety about something on one day, and it was a day I was trying to get lots of stuff done, and someone came to the door trying to sell loft conversion. I was busy doing something else anyway, and so my mind was, but I was very much like, that sounds lovely. And my response was just, I felt completely overwhelmed already with what was going on. The dog was barking, this person at the door saying this to me. I literally just couldn't stop myself. I just said, oh, that sounds wonderful, I'd love to do that, but we can't because our mortgage went up. I just had no filter, and I just said the truth. You know, the truth is that the mortgage for people in the UK has gone up a lot. The cost of everything has gone up, as many of you will know, I'm sure. Like, the cost of living in general has just gone up, and salaries have not gone up, and life is really hard for everyone. And I just said it, and his face, like, bless him, he just looked like he wanted to run away. He was like, oh, okay, and he kind of backed up like I was about to have like a mental breakdown, which I must have looked like it, but I was actually like, oh wow, actually that was quite like refreshing, liberating to be able to just be real with a stranger about something like that, instead of being like, oh, that sounds nice, or no, I'm sorry, not today. Because that, I guess that's the standard thing. I was just like, there is no capacity for that. I'm sorry. So I did want to film the other day, but lots of stuff was happening. I didn't get to capture that, but so I thought that I would capture a few things from today and the next couple of days. But generally, like, I wanted this time to be a bit of a reset for me. While I've been contented in some ways, it's not been really relaxing. It has brought fruit forward. There's been fruit that has come from this time, and I'd like to share a bit of that. So I wanted it to be like a little bit of a magical reset, because I felt like over the last few months, like so overstimulated all the time. Like I said, like I need to debrief everything, and journaling, I'm going back to journaling in a hard way, because I know that I need that right now. But also what's been helping me is to literally get my phone and just dictate kind of a brain dump, which helps verbally because it just gets it out, and then I can journal. Because if I was to actually journal everything that I need to say, it would literally burn my hand. It would take me like hours, and I don't have hours to do that. So it's almost easier to like get it out in words first, like word vomit. And that's really helped with this feeling of being overwhelmed and overstimulated all the time. And I also feel like I have so many thoughts going through my head all the time, and I know that I don't necessarily need an answer, but I always want to mine for gold in a situation. Always want to get like the nectar out of something, like the power out of something, and really feel like the magic that could come from something. Always learning from shadows as well. Like I'm always hyper aware of things going on around me. I'm always hyper aware of myself, and I'm hyper aware of the thoughts and the patterns that go on. And so I'm always checking myself, and if I get triggered, I'm always checking myself and, you know, noticing those things. And then, but I'm not great at not chastising myself, if you see what I mean. So I will always then blame myself, have a go at myself about what is coming up for me. And so it's trying to get out of that really and get back to a place that's more loving. But that's the constant reminder. So that's the self-love stuff, and that's why so much of my practice involves a lot of self-love work. And I think that for shadow work, that is absolutely key and necessary, because otherwise you're not going to be able to meet that part of you halfway with compassion, and then be able to either transmute whatever needs to be transmuted, but then like reintegrate to become that whole again. But then also knowing like I am already whole, you know what I mean? And I'm connected. I am already whole, and it's okay to feel these things. Just reminding myself, because I've been talking to my son a lot about the things that are going on with my daughter, and speaking to him a lot about compassion, and because his reaction, you know, he's 7 and he really shouldn't have to deal with the things that he's having to deal with. And so I've explained that to him, like, this isn't usually what 7-year-olds have to deal with. You know, younger brothers don't usually have to in this situation, and so your friends aren't necessarily dealing with this either. And it's an understanding for him, just expressing that understanding for him, but then also, like, you know, saying that it's okay if you feel angry with her at this point. You know, if she's behaving like this to you and to us, she's saying these things to you and to us, and she's behaving this violent way to us, we need to keep you safe. So you need to, instead of fighting back or shouting back or arguing back, you come to us. We will sort things out. We're looking for support for her. We've talked to him about the pathway she's on, about ASD, and about the things that we're doing to get help, support for her, but that she's not behaving these ways out of malice or on purpose. She's unable to stop these things from happening. And so to cultivate that compassion within him, because he's such a compassionate boy and he loves her so much. They have a beautiful friendship actually, but just that's probably the reason, like, they're so close, that he does get the brunt of things. And so just talking to Gabriel about compassion, and it reminds me to be compassionate to myself, because of course there's a lot of guilt, a lot of mum guilt and a lot of pain. And I was at an event yesterday that I was actually partly leading the event with a group of beautiful women, and we're working on bringing a group together to create a supportive community of women locally. One other mum who has a daughter who's on the spectrum said to me about grieving. Grieving is okay, and feeling what you're feeling and that being okay, but then grieving it as well, because it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, it wasn't what you wanted, it wasn't what you expected. expected your life to be like. You expected to be able to go out and to enjoy your life with your kids, you know, and that's not really possible for us. Like when we have days out, there's usually a lot of sadness, a lot of anger from our daughter, violence from our daughter, frustration. It's very difficult. Oftentimes she won't want to get dressed, put clothes on and get out the door, but everything comes along with a lot of violence and a lot of violent words, and you know, words that my husband and I have never used in our house, and we hear horrible things every day from our daughter and multiple times a day, and so it's just really, really hard to cope with that. So I started crying as soon as she said this, but this whole process for me, I guess the last few days, it has been transformative, because I did a tarot reading on my last day in my previous role, and I used the Ghosts and Spirits tarot. I also used the Horror Oracle, and I pulled an extra card from the Ghosts and Spirits as well as the Eight of Swords, and I also pulled the Flight card from the Witch, Robert Eggers' The Witch, and also the Fertility card from the Wicca Man, the original. At first I was like, okay, so this is about blossoming into something, like how can I blossom into something, and what is holding me back? How am I holding myself back? And I knew that there was some other level of inquiry, there was something else to do with my career, my development, the things that I'm creating in the world that needed fleshing out because of the extra card from the Ghosts and Spirits. I knew I needed to journal on it, I knew I needed to delve deeper into it, and then being part of this group yesterday, which is just the beginning. We're going to do more, there's more happening, and I'm creatively involved, creating assets and such, taking resources that we've brought together, creating it into a package of graphics and things that people can keep. We're going to be doing more of this and working together and seeing what we can build together, basically. And I'm so excited to be involved in my community, and this is something I think I've felt I needed for a really long time, right? But being there and feeling like completely overwhelmed, and also noticing like needing time to process it, but also feeling like I can't be everywhere in the room at once. Like when we separated out, we had a kind of workshopping type thing where we were bringing questions as well as offerings for each other, and it became like a kind of consultancy space for 25 minutes, you know, and different pockets, different areas of consultations. But you know, there's loads to explore, because every single amazing woman there was so strong, so powerful, and had so much to offer. But then everyone also was coming with stuff that they needed to speak about with someone who they could trust, you know, to have that listening partnership that I've talked about before, that we practice, that myself and some other women practice when we're together. And you know, we started with a meditation which was led for us by another woman, and gathering together, like everyone was so beautiful and everyone wanted to be there. It was a safe, beautiful space. Everyone was coming there with a purpose for enriching themselves as well as others. I realized as well then it was very much that putting your mask on before others, because I realized that I am holding myself back from shining, trying to keep myself small, because I'm afraid of being noticed, I'm afraid of sticking out, I'm afraid of putting myself out there, and thinking to myself, okay, so why, like I never think of myself as a business person, right? So all these years I never thought of myself as someone who could have her own business. So I've stifled myself, and I've not been able to then create a business for myself, because I hold myself back in this way. And then hold myself back, I'm actually holding back the talents, the things that I have to offer, because I know I've got a lot to offer. And I realized like it's me. I'm wondering why I'm not at a place in my career, say, that some other people are at who work in a similar field to me in writing and publishing and journalism and in social media and e-commerce or whatever, like content creation, creating graphics and writing, that this is what I do professionally, right? I mean, I started writing for fashion magazines about fashion, beauty, celebrities and stuff, and then moved into home, lifestyle, worked in e-commerce, worked in social media and e-commerce, working for publishing houses, working in print, working in digital media. This is what I do, creating graphics, creating content. And so feeling like, oh, okay, well, some of the people that I've worked with, they're like directors or like managing directors of things, and why am I not there? And well, I think, well, if I'm holding myself back this way, thinking, oh, I'm not this kind of person, I can't do that, I can't do that, it's no wonder that. And realizing, okay, so that is the Eight of Swords, because it's me holding myself back from the fertility, right? And that this needs further inquiry, because actually I need to step into that power now, and it's the time. And it's the time when I really start to embrace priestessing. And how can I do that? It's a time now, I feel like, where I'm really being pushed to share what I have to offer, and to be able to give gifts, to offer service. Also, I need time to heal. Healing needs to happen, but to create a space where I can support others very much and give back. This is where I feel I need to be and where I need to go. And so this has just opened up a beautiful, beautiful doorway. I'm hoping to be able to do a number of things in this space. There was someone who came into the group who actually works for a charity who supports women locally who are homeless and who have experienced domestic violence and domestic abuse, and so to be able to be there to cultivate a network of support, to be able to offer time, energy, talents, services, things that I do, and then also to offer comfort, and then to receive that back, get that balance there of like give and take and that reciprocity, you know, and to really feel part of my community. And I think that's what I've been missing for a really long time, and so I'm really excited. But yeah, it was just like full circle for me, like all of a sudden like everything making sense from that reading, but then also really noticing in myself I was still struggling with it because that so much happened yesterday. Again, like that, I need to debrief, I feel so overwhelmed, I feel so overstimulated, so much in my head, I want to be able to like capture it, and there's not enough time to be able to capture it. And I realized this is how I felt the other day when I was trying to film. I kept getting distracted because there was this to do and there's this to do, and I was just running around like a headless chicken, and I was, well, I could just make a really real vlog and just share everything, and then what you will see is literally clean washing in that room on the floor, my daughter's clothes thrown around her room because she loves to live in chaos, a ton of her stuff in bags and boxes in the witchy room, which is the spare room in our house, bags and bags of her stuff because she decided she wants to throw it all away. We're not actually going to throw it all away. Some of it was mine, like from when I was a child, some of the Barbies, some of the books. So I'm going through it, Tim and I are going to be going through it. The bathroom, a sink covered in toothpaste from the morning. Every day there's toothpaste from the kids, you know, then the kids' pajamas like on the kitchen floor, socks and pants in the living room that I need to pick up, so I'm running around, putting washing on, So that's the everyday, the reality. And when you're having to leave really early, you don't really get to it, you know, it's only by virtue of being able to be at home. I guess that's one of the things about being able to work from home that's really helpful. And so my new role is working from home, so I'm very grateful that I'll be able to do that. It's been a really tough ride the last 6 months. I actually feel like things are coming full circle a bit. It's funny because my north node is in Aries and my south node is in Libra, and so I'm having a nodal return right now. I'm totally stepping into my power, and it's in my 6th house, so it's like very much work space aligned. It's actually making so much sense. I also wanted to share, I've already talked a bit about this in another video, so you might see that after, I don't know. This is like a My Melody journal, and it was from Claire's Accessories, and I literally just ordered a pen for it from Truffle Shuffle, which is a My Melody fluffy pen. This is something that I bought for myself when my daughter and I went in, and we were in town because I had to get my glasses from Specsavers sorted, so I had a new prescription. She loves Claire's, and so she got some bits. I saw this and I was like, oh my god, this reminds me of being a child, like my inner child. I remember when I was about 10 or 11, for Christmas, some family members got me like this fluffy journal. It was like bright pink, and there was a like fashion girly on the front, you know. I was just like, oh, it reminded me so much. Journaling for me, I guess, over the last few years, it's been journaling, shadow work, prompts that I've come up with or that I've had from others, journaling information from courses or from things I've read, or journaling, mining, journaling from stuff that has come from courses. Like, so if I've been doing a course in something and I've ended up doing a journey work through that, and then working with Lilith, working with the Morrigan, journaling around that, journaling around dreams, things like that. But all of that, right, okay, so good dreams, that basically comes from within. But what I realized was when I was little, when I was younger, I used to just journal like what's going on today. It was much more like brain dumpy. So I do occasionally do brain dumps where I'm just like writing everything, but not so much frequently recently. And I think that like the last few years, the journaling has been really to do with other things external to me. But when I was little, I used to journal everything the way it was just coming out of me without other input. And I just thought, how freeing and liberating would it be if I had a book that I could, it could be a magical book for me, and it is a magical book, like every book I think is a magical book. And so crafted this page at the front. It's gonna be a space that is a space that I can come to write anything. And so I want it to be free of needing to look beautiful, but I wanted to have a nice page at the front, you know. And I'm gonna write some intentions down here. I wanted this to be a space where I could just release in a emotional and creative way, because I feel like that's how I used to work in my journals when I was younger. I wanted that back. I wanted that flow of creativity back. And so that's what's come from this. I also picked up this gorgeous milkshakey thing because she was half price, a little plushie. I have an inner child corner over here and it's gorgeous. I have a Care Bear, and my daughter got a Care Bear and then she decided she didn't want it, so there's 2 Care Bears up there, and there's just a few other things that have migrated over from my daughter's room because she doesn't want them anymore. Like this avocado. I mean, gosh, just I think I got this for Rosalie. I love these jellycat food things, especially around this time of year. Like, they do the pumpkins and they're just the cutest. Got this strawberry ice cream as well. How cute! Strawberry ice cream. So I have to share this as well. My beautiful friend and soul sister Bronia, who has a channel on YouTube. She actually has a couple of channels, so I'll link them below. One's called The Celestial Gateway and the other is Bronia K Spiritual. And she sent me her copy of the Hush Tarot because she wasn't using it, and I had expressed something about like thinking I need to get it because it had been kind of living in my mind rent-free basically. For years, you know, I've looked at and wanted this deck and just never taken the plunge, but like the imagery is just gorgeous. It's a bit like the Ostara Tarot actually, which I do love, but it's so fey and it's so autumnal. There is a lot in here that reminds me very much of the Brian Froud Fairies Oracle. So I think I'd like to pair them together. I'm sure lots of people have done that before. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck and I have used it a couple of times now. I absolutely love it. So I'm so grateful to Bronia K for sending this to me because I love it so, so much. Yeah, it's gorgeous. So that's the Hush Tarot. Also, fiction. I am absolutely obsessed with this book and I've been reading so much fiction, so I'm really excited to include some fiction books in a video soon. Those are some of the things I wanted to chat about, and I also wanted to share with you some of the things that I am doing at the moment around the house. I'd love to do meditation and just chill out a little bit in the sacred space with you. So thank you for joining me for the chatty part and I hope you enjoy the rest of the vlog. Morning. There is a lot in my head. Even though I've meditated, I've spent the morning journaling, there's a lot going on in my head. I've had some breakfast, I had my protein bowl. Just wanted to check in a little bit this morning to talk again about Palestine. So I haven't been on Instagram for maybe a week or so just because of life, being in this transitionary place that I'm in at the moment. I just hadn't had time to log in. You know, for the past year, I guess now, nearly a lot of the content on my Instagram has been sharing from Palestine, from people who are on the ground. I know that a lot of people don't want to see that, and so, you know, I've had some friends ask me, you know, not to share that with them. When I've been sharing things on like personal platforms, like on my Facebook, and I have a personal Instagram page as well, so trying to ensure that I'm not sharing too much graphic wise. But I think for me, I made the choice that I was going to witness. I also don't want to push that into other people's faces, especially those who feel that they can't look at that right now, and so definitely honouring that. But the horrors, I know that so many of us have seen over the last year, I think more and more because things were being taken down but reshared, and I think it's very important that these things are seen. Really frightening things that I can't describe, I can't speak to, I don't have any, you know, experience. These are things I never thought I would see really in front of me. I think it puts the human body into like a state of shock, a state of sort of trauma as well, and that's of course nothing compared to actually living it, because there are people living it every day, and that is horrific to conceive that there are people living this every single day. Their families are being brutally in front of them. I personally, because of my experience having children, I do have PTSD. I have experienced OCD as well. That is something that I don't feel ever really goes away, so I'm always trying to look after that side of myself. But I think I've spoken to this a little bit before in the past. Like, I live in quite a rural but suburban area, so we're out in the countryside, but then there's like a new build estate, quite a large one, and so there's a lot of young families and young children. There's a park right opposite our house, and I hear young children crying and screaming and laughing and shouting all the time. It does set me into kind of a panic mode. I feel my heart going, like heart palpitations, and to greater or lesser degrees. But I think I definitely noticed, like in myself, like the more I would see terror on Instagram from on the ground in Palestine, the more then I would respond to cries, even if they were like cries of laughter from the park, that my body would react. And so just to say that I don't think it's necessary for anyone to have to look at those things if you feel that you can't. And obviously here I can't describe them anyway, but you know what these things are. And just that witnessing and the horror of knowing like that there's nothing that I can do other than what I'm doing, which just doesn't feel like enough, and it's never going to feel like enough. But then being a year now that we've been in this, I guess, iteration within this decades worth of violence and genocide, in this particular chapter, in this particular part of history, we are witnessing it in a way that has never been witnessed before. And I want to honour and witness that, but at the same time I feel so responsible. So it's, as a result, the only thing that I can do that I feel makes any use of myself at all is to continue to speak out about Palestine, to continue to raise awareness, to continue to read and educate myself, and to surround myself with people who are doing the same. It is simply about life being sacred. It is absolutely not anti-Semitic to state that it is wrong to be children. I'm gonna have to bleep those words out, I know. Like, what is happening is terrorist activity. What is happening is criminal injustice, violence, war crimes. It is beyond horror what is happening, and it is not obviously limited to Palestine, I'm aware. Lebanon as well, and other areas are also within apartheid and genocide. The only thing I know I can do is to continue to donate, to continue to spread awareness and speak out about Palestine, to continue to connect to those who are doing the same, donate, listen, share, educate myself, try and speak out to others, and to get involved as and when I can on the ground. And so that is what I've been trying to do. This event that I attended this weekend has been really powerful, and I'm hoping that there's a future where we can mobilize ourselves as a group, a community of like-minded souls coming together, that we might be resilient together, that we might then support one another to help support other communities, Palestine being one, and that we might reach out and somehow be of service to our fellow humans, that we might support them, and that we might raise funds, that we might raise awareness. That is my hope. That is what the seed that I hold in my heart now, and I've brought that to the other members. So that's what I'm hoping for. But for today, speaking with you, I want to raise awareness for the Glitter CYMRU channel, the recent interview with Amy of Kutches to Gaza, as well as Isha's channel, of course, who I'm sure you all know and all watch. And Isha's shared many videos now about coping with what we're seeing from Palestine, about raising awareness about activism, how witchcraft is involved, how witchcraft connects to activism, and how important it is, right? And Isha has just been amazing, as has Kellyanne, of course, Kelly Bear, Anya Esma, Imogen from Sapling Tarot. There are a number of people within this community who, without just being able to connect to them, however briefly or extensively, being able to connect on this level and discuss this has been a lifeline for me. I'm incredibly grateful for that, because we need that, and we need more and more people to speak out, and aware there are so many amazing folks within this community who feel this heavily on their hearts. Isha recently spoke about fatigue, activism fatigue, which I'm sure we've all felt and experienced as well. And then again, just that humbling and sobering knowing as well that it does not even come close, not even a fraction close to the fatigue and terror and the horror that so many humans, families, children are facing, like on a daily basis. Like I cannot even put into words. And so I would just implore you from the bottom of my heart, if you're still here, please go and watch the Glitter CYMRU channel with the interview from Amy from Kutches to Gaza. Learn about what Amy and their partner have done by building Kutches to Gaza. Learn about who they're supporting, more about the charity. And then with Isha's channel, you can enter into the Witches for Palestine second round raffle. Donate to Kutches to Gaza and enter that prize draw. I just want to implore you to go and do that. It is heavy on my heart, as I know it is on so many other people's hearts. There's not much else I can say other than I'm just devastated, and I know so many of you are also in the same place. All I can say is I send you strength, and I send you solidarity. And coming back again to what Sammy said in the interview with Sammy and Sabrin earlier in the year, that we need to take that time to rest when we are fatigued. You know, like I said, I took a week away from seeing things on Instagram because just life and the transition I'm in. You do that and come back and keep talking about it. I think what Amy said in their interview, keep Palestine on the tip of your tongue, like you're ready to bring it in. I had one meeting with the ladies the other day, the first meeting for Resilient Together, and it's on the tip of my tongue because I brought it out. This is what is on my heart. This is where I want to focus energy. This is what I want to put energy and time, effort and money and love into. We must all come together. We must not stop, okay? It doesn't just stop with one donation. It doesn't just stop with one march. It has to keep going, and it will keep going. And I pray unceasingly that families, children, all folks, all civilians will be safe, that they will find safety, that they will be protected right now. I pray ceaselessly that we will have a peaceful and immediate and lasting ceasefire, and that the efforts that we're continuing to raise around this, that will go into rehabilitating the lives of these people who are displaced and destroyed because they've lost family, they've lost loved ones, they've lost limbs, they are alone in the world, orphaned. I want us to come together. I want this community to put their arms around these people, all of these people who are in these positions, who are being marginalized and massacred. This is not human, this is not love. And it's not the world that I feel that we should be, that we are, that we could be. Let's come together in love, please. Please leave a flag for Palestine below. Share with anyone else as well to share that interview with Amy and Isha's video. And let's just get this news spread far, far and wide. Continue to raise awareness, continue to support, continue to donate, continue to educate yourself, continue to speak out, continue to do whatever you can within your means, within whatever resources you have, okay? Thank you so much for listening. Let's continue with the video. Mwah.
In the mornings and in the evenings, I really like to take my time in this space. I like to potter around when I'm finished for the day, and just before we put the kids to bed and before we have dinner and such, like around the time whenever it's appropriate, and just light some candles and spend some time meditating, doing this in the morning and the evening, and just doing as much as I can, as is possible. So I have this space here, which is just a lovely bookcase with more books and an altar for love, a love altar. And then this is Lilith's altar, so I've got some cards there because I've been working with those cards to connect to Lilith. And it is the next day. And I thought I would just create a little bit of a sacred space for me now that the kids are at school, so I can do a meditation for myself. On this day, I did decide to use a meditation from Aura, who I have partnered with in previous videos. Coco often comes and sits with me on the bed, and that's really nice, and she does settle down usually. Sometimes it's distracting, of course, but I'd rather have her there than not, so it's very cute. And she's with me right now as well. So I find that having some time in the morning to do some deep belly breaths and connect into the body was really supportive. Some days I like to use Aura, other days I will just breathe, other days it will be music, sometimes like a guided meditation, or sometimes I'll go in and journey to meet with Lilith or the Morrigan, and other days it's just a quick breathwork session. I like to pray the rosary in the evenings, and I have a Mother Mary statue by the bed, but also occasionally doing meditations with mostly music in the evenings. And I like to use like a woodland forest music meditation. I use a combination of Aura and YouTube music, as well as other meditations that I've recorded myself.
Welcome to this morning meditation, the calm energy.
So on this day, I continued to do a bit of breath work after the meditation finished because aura tends to just roll into the next one. So I decided to do a bit more breath work and do some somatic exercises. I also like to take this time to ground and center and create a protective shield around myself, which I've talked about in previous videos.
Taking a moment to find a comfortable position. Eyes resting gently closed. Or a soft. Taking a beautiful deep breath in here through the nose. A slow exhale out of the mouth. And a gentle smile on your lips.
And then I decided to get my journal out and debrief everything that was on my mind.
So I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for joining me for this kind of waffly, sort of random magical reset vlog. I hope that it landed and that in some way it was supportive or helpful or inspiring, anything. I would love to hear what you're getting up to and what is exciting for you at the moment. What are you loving about this season? What are you working on? What decks are you getting into? Any TV programs that you're loving? Any books you're reading? I want to hear, because I've been deep into the fiction. You let me know what books you're loving as well, because I'm so interested in getting good recommendations for spooky, witchy, ghostly, autumnal book recommendations. I would love to hear from you. Leave me a comment below, let me know how you're doing. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with anyone who you also think will enjoy. Also, if you'd like to support me, there's Instagram, there is an old TikTok page, and there is also Patreon where you can come and support me, and I share occasional goodies and extras. Just being here though is really supportive, and so grateful that you're here, and I hope that you enjoyed this, and I really hope that you stay safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you again in another video really soon. Alright, take care, many blessings. Mwah. Bye.